You want the best for your car? You already watch our tutorials.
So the best place for the best deal is to buy from the Mr. Auto app. Easy, fast, and with better prices than on the website.
You will find the bulk control arms used in the video exclusively on the Mr. Auto website and through the link in the description. Turn your engine off and pull up the handbrake. In order to make changes to the control arms on your vehicle, you must lift the front of the car and remove the wheels. This will give you full access to the suspension system. Loosen the stud bolts on the front wheels. Raise the front of the vehicle and put it in the two-axle stands. We strongly suggest watching the tutorial, raising your vehicle safely before carrying out this step. You will then be able to take off the wheels. Don't forget to slide them under the vehicle. These elements can often get jammed, so use a penetrating oil to facilitate the operation. To facilitate this operation, we recommend lightly unscrewing the screw on the head of the shock absorber to create enough room to maneuver for future manipulations. To do this, we recommend watching the video, changing the front shock absorbers. To be able to remove the control arms, you have to separate the gimbal on the steering knuckle to be able to remove all the holding screws on the control arm. Using a flathead screwdriver, remove the safety lock and the metal cover. Then unscrew the shell end that will help you not break the holding screws on the disc during the next stages. Insert a thin flathead screwdriver that can slip in between the two sides of the disc. It will make it possible to fix the rotation of the gimbal. Then, using a T-force and a 36mm socket, release the nut on the wheel hub without completely unscrewing it. Using a 21mm spanner and a Torx T20 socket, unscrew the holding nut on the tie rod end control arm. Then, unscrew the wheel nut, which will help you not break the holding screws on the disc during the next stages. In order to be able to remove the control arm from its tie rod end, you have to lift the steering knuckle slightly to create the needed space to completely remove the control arm. Be careful. When lifting this part, you have to ensure that the vehicle remains fully on the axle stands. Then, using a crowbar, separate the control arm from its tie rod end. You can now finish off removing the nut on the wheel hub. Remove the gimbal from the steering knuckle. Be careful to push the gimbal against the gearbox to avoid the oil in the box from seeping out. You can now access the holding screws on the control arm. Using a socket wrench, a 21mm socket and a Torx T50 socket, unscrew and remove the two holding screws on the control arm. You can now remove the control arm.
Please support us, subscribe and like the video, that will be really cool.
You will find the bulk parts and products used in the video on the Mr. Auto site and in the link in the description. Put the new control arm in place. Then put the two holding screws in place. Finalize the tightening of the screws with a torque wrench, so that you can put the control arm in the place and the gimbal in the steering knuckle. You have to separate the foot of the shock absorber from the steering knuckle. Using a socket wrench and an 18mm socket, unscrew the two screws on the base of the shock absorber. Hold the nut with the 18mm spanner. Then remove them. While holding the steering knuckle in place, slip the gimbal into its housing. Then, lift everything to be able to slide the tie rod end into the control arm. You can then screw the foot of the shock absorber back into the steering knuckle. Finalize the tightening of the screws with a torque wrench. You can now screw the ends of the control arm back in. Finalize the tightening of the screws with a torque wrench. Use the screwdriver technique to plug the rotation of the gimbal and screw it in. Finalize the tightening of the screws with a torque wrench. Put the metal cover back in place, then the security lock. Put the wheels of your vehicle back on and lower it to the ground. During this operation, you will work on the steering system of your vehicle. Regulated and perfectly aligned, it aims to ensure perfect control of your vehicle and regular wear on the front tyres. Checks on tyre alignment, when carried out by a professional, will guarantee that your steering system has been perfectly aligned and is in good working order. Operation completed.
Hello, if this video helped you, like and subscribe.